Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is just a really quick video to sort of set the stage for week 2 and reflect a little bit on week 1. So in week 1, really what I wanted you to do was to start thinking about user-centered strategies for delivering content. As you've probably noticed, your textbook is dense with information, but the author of the textbook does a number of really important things to help you as the reader navigate all of that information. The use of clear and specific headings, the use of bulleted lists, the bolding of words, the spatial isolation of material so that your eye is drawn to it. All of these sort of things culminate into an experience where you sort of know what's coming. For instance, the objective statement at the beginning of each of the chapters, that's a really nice snapshot for the reader to know what they're getting into. One of the things that we'll talk about repeatedly throughout the semester is that readers like to know how things are organized. So it's really important that if we have the opportunity to, we sort of forecast for them what's coming in the document that we provide. For example, if we have a set of instructions that we're writing, which we'll do later in the semester, sometimes it's really nice to tell your user how you've decided to organize those instructions and why you've decided to do that. It really just sort of puts your reader on even footing with you and really helps to create a user-centered document. Now we're going to use some of those lessons here as we transition into our job application materials, which are our resume and cover letter. And the resume really is a document that has to be user-centered. The metaphor that I like to use is as an interface. So any computer software that you use, whether it's web-based or stored on the hardware, like Facebook or even Microsoft Word, that's an interface. And on that interface, there has to be certain signposts that drive you to certain functions and content. And the resume is no different. One of the things that really startles people is that the resume is typically read in only about 35 seconds, and that's a generous appraisal. And so what you really need to do is you need to craft a document that grabs the reader's attention and directs them towards the content that speaks to their needs and your qualifications. So I'm going to challenge you in this resume assignment to really focus on creating engaging headers. And by headers I mean typically on a resume you see things like experience, education. I want you to spend a lot of time crafting those and making those as specific and as helpful as possible. Okay? We don't need to fall into the templated trap of just having education, skills, and experience. Maybe you have different types of experience, right? Maybe you have customer service experience, maybe you have trades experience, maybe you have electrical experience, and putting that small little adjective in the front drives the reader's attention to that information, and ultimately what we're hoping to do, and one of the things that I'm asking you to do this week, is go out and find a job ad, a real job ad that's posted somewhere, and I know that you guys have a pretty predictable list of employers that you're typically working with as electrical line workers. So we're thinking about CMP, we're thinking about Amera, we're thinking about On Target. And so what you might want to do is peruse their websites and find out what the specific language is that they're looking for. Now it just so happens that I've had the experience of working with a number of folks in cohorts before you on their resume and cover letter, and I know that there are certain things that really matter to those employers. One of which is certainly the technical ability, the technical skill of working on transmission lines. The other thing is you really need to be safety conscious and safety minded, so any way that you can prove to them that you have a track record of working safely. Teamwork is obviously really important, the ability to work with a group of people to accomplish a task. These are all things that are really important and that you're going to want to draw your reader's attention to. But you'll also want to take a really close look at those job ads and look at the language that they're using and try to match that language, not necessarily verbatim, but you want to sort of create a one-to-one correspondence. If they ask for a particular skill or trait, you want to sort of reflect that in one of your documents so that there's that type of correspondence, and that's what I'm going to challenge you to do. So in addition to this short video where I'm just trying to sort of set up the week, I'm also going to post a video that should help you think about your resume a little bit differently in terms of it being a graphical interface almost, where you're trying to drive the reader to specific content that matters. And we're going to do that in a number of ways, and the ways are actually very similar to the ways that your book draws your attention to certain things that really matter. So I want to see bolded words, I want to see underlined words, I want to see bulleted lists, I want to see a really sort of strategic assemblage of all of your credentials. That's the really sort of remarkable thing about the resume, is that it's your entire life work on one page. And so you've got to be really smart, and you've got to really pay attention to what I call real estate. So there's different types of real estate on the page, and different real estate has different values, right? So the top and the center of the page is obviously the most valuable, and there's other parts of the page that maybe are less valuable. And you're going to want to allocate your real estate proportionately, right? So if you have one experience that's really important, you're going to want to give that more real estate, right? So say you've worked in a trades capacity before where you've been able to exercise skills like teamwork and safety and all these other types of things that really are going to matter to your future employers. You're going to want to devote more attention to that than maybe if you worked at McDonald's, right? Although there probably are transferable skills that you learned at McDonald's, you're probably not going to want to devote quite as much space. So I want you to think really strategically, okay? So thanks a lot. Please stay in contact. Let me know how you're doing, and I'll be grading those first batch of assignments really soon. I look forward to looking at your drafts of the resume. Please read that second chapter of your textbook really closely. I think you'll find it's very helpful. And if you have a chance and you're feeling super ambitious, just do a quick Google search for resume tips. There's so many things out there from really, really good publications like Forbes and Business Insider and places like that where you'll really start to get some insight. So thanks a lot, guys. I went over my 5 minutes, but take care.